Hello, everybody. I'm really excited to kick off our Flash seminars and be the first one to post on that subject. For the book that I chose, I went with Uncomfortably Numb, a memoir, The Life Altering Diagnosis of Multiple Sclerosis, and that is, of course, by Bay Path's very own Meredith O'Brien. I'm going to assume. I know most of us have already had Meredith for one or more classes. Not sure if everyone has, but I'm going to assume everyone kind of knows who Meredith is already. But I will tell you just a little bit about her. Of course, Meredith was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. She wrote this memoir about what happened leading up to her diagnosis and what happened moving past that and things she encountered and her feelings. And it is a very raw, amazing accounting of what that is like. When I was reading this the first time, my boss actually had just been diagnosed with MS, and I had no idea. And so I sent her a copy of Meredith's book, and she just absolutely loved it. And Meredith was so kind. I reached out to her and told her what I did. And in true Meredith form, she gave me all her contact info and said to pass it along to Rachel, who was my boss at the time, and let her know if she had any questions to reach out. So here's a few more things about Meredith. So she is an avid Red Sox fan. Anybody who has had her for a class probably knows that already. Of course, she's a Bay Path faculty member in our MFA program. She teaches in the narrative medicine track. She's active in the National MS Society, and she's a former newspaper journalist and investigative reporter. So she brings a lot to the table. I'm going to read the passage that I chose real quick, and then I'll talk about the elements of creative nonfiction and style that I found in that passage. I'm also going to post the text of the passage in Canvas so that everyone has that text to refer to as we're discussing this over the week. The cacophonous symphony of the MRI overloads my senses as well as the jazz I am straining to hear. I slam my eyes shut tightly and try to envision myself somewhere else. But it can't be a vague somewhere. It's got to be specific. A beach on Cape Cod, in Wellfleet to be specific, pops into my head. It's LeCount Hollow, down a short dirt path from the Wilson Avenue cottage my parents used to rent for a large chunk of my youth and young adulthood. It's on the Atlantic Ocean. There's a strong saltwater breeze. There are tiny fuchsia rosebuds on the bushes clinging to the weathered gray, split rail fence in the front yard. I imagine the grit of the sand that, despite my mother's frequent sweeping, is never entirely absent from the cottage floor. The mosquitoes, which always find their way through the worn window screens and eventually chew up my exposed skin they seem to love, are buzzing near my ears. I imagine it all. I am there, out of this cage, where I do not have a mass in my brain. There are no pounding sounds of the machine, which is shaking as it tries to read the innards of my body and tell me what they're saying. There's just the sound of the surf and those mosquitoes. With abruptness, Verna pushes the button that delivers me out of the tunnel. She grabs my right arm, swabs it with an alcohol wipe, and inserts the IV before loading it with the contrast dye. I flinch because the needle stings. I more than flinch. I adjust my leg as I flinch. "What are you doing?" Verna yells. I can't see her face because the cage is blocking my view. "You can't move. You have to stay in exactly the same spot, or we can't compare these scans to the other ones. Otherwise, we're wasting our time." That is all I need. The seal on the dam is ripped off, broken. The flood is unleashed. I am crying. I hate crying in public in front of anybody. Hate it. I avoid it at all costs, preferring to let loose all blubbering in private. And this one, man, it is one ugly cry. The kind where your nose runs and turns a flaming blotchy red, or your eyes get puffy. To add to the humiliation, I have to let my nose run and allow the tears roll down the sides of my head, where they moisten my hair and mouth. I cannot hide my face because I cannot move. My fear is naked. I am exposed. Verna sees me, and something in her softens. "What, are you scared, honey?" This is this test is to find out if I have MS. "Oh," she says. "Okay, honey." She stops chastising me. She pats my hand with 3 rapid touches, pushes the button that sends me back into the tunnel, then retreats behind the glass wall where no one is crying. So I loved Meredith's book, start to finish, but I really appreciated um, this particular passage for a number of reasons. First, the narrative structure of it, the organization that she uses flashbacks. The perspective is mostly hers, but she does talk about her husband and her kids and kind of how they all deal with the very early days and weeks of her diagnosis. Setting is a big one in this book. She uses setting very well, bringing us into the hospital with her. We go on vacation with her. We are in places that she again has raw emotion and things. She's experiencing things through a new lens with her new diagnosis. Sensory details, she hits on all of them: sight, sound, smell, taste, touch. I think she hit on all of them within these 500 words that I just read. It really makes it engaging for the reader, I think, and it kind of brings you into her world a little bit. She definitely uses some dialogue with throughout the entire book. She's discussing things with her doctors. She has discussions with her husband, discussions with her children, discussions with her extended family, and that really brings, I think, together your picture of how Meredith navigated what she was going through. So, um, I'm looking forward to our discussions this week. Again, I'm going to post the text that I just read, and I would love to read what you guys thought, um, what things you may have picked up on, things that really stuck out to you, specifically in this passage, and maybe even elsewhere in the book if you've read it. I am looking forward to some engaging topics, and I look forward to seeing what you guys write.